Hello there, my name's Vince from My Mate Vince. In this video today we're going to be looking at a thermal imaging camera. These things are really useful if you're trying to do electronic repairs and also in other fields as well, because they show up heat spots, and that can be very useful. Even if you were a plumber and you had a blocked drain, you could run hot water down the drain, you might be able to see where that hot water is gathering. It might give you an idea then where the blockage is in that pipe work. So this was sent into my PO box by a viewer named Dave. Apparently there's a BGA chip on the inside which is getting really warm. So let's see if we can fix it. Maybe I can use another FLIR cam to try to fix this one here. I'm going to call them FLIR. I believe it's FLIR, but I'm so used to saying FLIR it's going to be hard for me to change. He also sent in this one as well, which is faulty, but in this episode we're going to be looking at this one here. He did contact FLIR and ask about a repair, and they were quoting £220 and £30 postage, which he thought was a little bit expensive. So he sent them in to me, but they've been sat with me for many years now. I've only just taken them out now to have a look at, so apologies for the delay. So this is Dave from Whitby. A massive thumbs up for sending them over to me. Let's get this one over to the mat and see what's happening. It's a rechargeable item. Let's take it apart first of all, see what's been done on the inside, and then maybe we can reconnect it and see this BGA chip getting warm. Okay, so I've watched a quick review on it, and basically this is the image thing here to take an image, the shutter. This is on and off here. We have micro USB here. We have a flashlight. We have a normal camera and a thermal imaging camera. And I think the idea is it overlays the thermal imaging onto the normal camera. So I think you can really see what's going on, which is nice. So let's take it apart. You have to pop this off and there should be some screws underneath it. There we go. And we have some Torx bits under here. Torx 6. This is already wanting to come apart because it's been apart already. There we go. So the screen is not connected. Interesting, we have an actual chip on the screen itself. It's not just a ribbon cable. Okay. Have a shield. And we have the battery disconnected. Camera's disconnected as well. Right, well I can already see flux and stuff around here, and I can see this chip doesn't look healthy. That chip looks burnt, and it looks like the cover has come off it. Looks like it's worn away. Where are we? Here. Can you see there, shiny there? And it all looks burnt around here and very fluxy. Right, okay, let's measure the battery. Let's see what we have on it. So we have black, yellow and red. So I'm going to go on the black and the red. 3.8 volts. So the battery's okay. So what we'll do is let's plug it in and let's see, is it actually going to charge? Right, so I'm plugging it in now. Plug this in here. Nothing. Not drawing anything. Oh, this is beats. This says beats here. This is not the original lead. That isn't drawing anything, yet we know there's charge in here. I'm just going to try another lead, just in case, because this is a Beats lead here. So like a headphone lead. Let me get another one. Oh, there we go. I was when I pressed down on here. 1 second now. 1 second. Let me try this lead again. I think we've got iffy connections on here as well. Yeah, it is charging. Right, okay. Oh, that is very, that is very warm. Right, let's unplug that. That is very warm. Let's unplug the battery. Now, let's get the FLIR cam set up. So it is charging, but it's that chip there, I could feel it through my gloves that it was warm. Let's get the FLIR cam on the go and see if we can use a FLIR cam to fix a FLIR cam. So I'm going to plug it in now. And there you go, you can see that heat spot there on that chip. So it's there, that's the middle of the heat spot. Oh, that's the edge of the chip there. And that inductor's getting warm as well. Look at that. Okay, well, the middle of the chip is here, but the heat spot is definitely over to the left-hand side. It probably is the chip because we can see that it's burnt away. We can see that it's burnt away there. In fact, the heat spot corresponds with where the burning is. So I think the chip has failed. Let's zoom in and see what that chip is. Just going to clean around the area with some isopropyl alcohol. It's so burnt I can't even see the markings on top of it. Let me zoom right in. Unfortunately, I cannot see anything on there at all. It's just like it's been wiped away. Let's wet it. No, can't see anything. By scraping it now with this, I think I've removed some old flux, and I can see just barely it says dialogue. And I don't know where I've seen those chips before, but I have. I think they're power management, but I don't know. But that dialogue seems to ring a bell. Anyway, there is a chance that it could be from here that the heat's being generated, and it's burning it here. So let's get the multimeter on the go and see if we have any shorted caps. No. There's a lot of heat being generated on that as well though. So this is an inductor, so we will have a short across it. Try these ones. That's shorted. That's shorted, but the heat's coming from here. Is that a full short? 5 ohms. It's a 5 ohm short, so it might not actually be a short. This ground? Yeah. That's short. Again, 5 ohm. 5 ohm. They could be normal. And 5 ohm. So there's 5 ohm shorts everywhere. Now, how many balls are under that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going to be 8 by 8. So that's 64 balls. I'm not going to be able to reball that. What's happening here? See, if some of these shorts were 1 ohm or 2 ohms, then I'd be like, yeah, they're definitely shorted. But it's 5 ohms, which might be completely normal. I wonder, does that like reset it? Factory reset or something. Now, if you like factories, you might like the sponsor of today's video, PCBWay. Whew, that was a good one. PCBWay is your one-stop solution for all things PCB fabrication and assembly. From rapid prototyping to full-scale production, PCBWay delivers top quality products. So whether you're a seasoned engineer or a hobbyist just starting out, PCBWay's user-friendly interface makes ordering your own custom PCBs very easy. And PCBWay do a variety of different services, including but not limited to assembling your PCBs, CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication, and injection moulding. So when you're ready to take your designs to the next level, look no further than PCBWay and bring your ideas to life. So a massive thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring the My Mate Vince channel. Now let's get back to the video. Just worried about that heating up like that. Do you know what I might do to begin with? Just in case this has an internal short, because this is going to be a coil-off wire, and they are all going to measure a short. So the coil-off wire might be intact, but let's say instead of having, I don't know, maybe like 40 meters of wire coiled around there, there might be 40 meters of wire coiled around here, but they might have shorted onto each other. So it's just acting as a direct short. Because that shouldn't be, I don't think that should be heating up like that. So rather than take this off, which is going to be a nightmare, I think I'm going to take this off and then we'll plug this in again and see if it's getting just as hot on the FLIR cam. Now, just in case, where's the heat? The heat's here, just in case it's coming from this side. I don't think there's anything on this side. No, it's not from that side of the board, I'm sure of that. I'm not sure why we've got these. What are these connectors for? They don't seem to be used for anything. Would that be for a different model? I don't know what they're for. Oh, we have a little battery here. Right, I'm taking off the inductor. Right, 450 degrees Celsius, 150 out of a possible 200 airflow. So it's not that I think the inductor's at fault, it's just that the BGA chip is going to be impossible to for me to remove and reball. And if the BGA chip's failed, it's failed. At this moment in time I can't even read the writing on it to get a new one. So if that's heating up as well, I just want to make sure that that's not the cause of the problem. Because the inductor's easy to remove, but it looks perfect. Let's see now. Isn't that interesting? There's no heat there now. There's no heat at all. Okay, let me just see. Let's go on to voltage. Let me just see if we go onto the pads of the inductor, do we have voltage? 1 volt there, nothing there. What about on these ones? Let me zoom in. Let me go onto the caps. So this was the shorted one, I think. .8 volts. 1.8 volts. 1.8. 1.8. Oh, there's 1.8 volts at the bottom there. So does that mean now the coil's pushed it through where there's a short? Well, saying that, let's disconnect this and then we can check for a short, can't we? So if I was to go here, let me just see if the short's still here on these. No. What? They're not shorted anymore. Wasn't expecting that. So is there a short? Ah, the short is going away. That 5 ohm short is going away. So I've broke the path now. So this chip can probably do what it wants to do. because it's putting 1.8 volts to the bottom here. Let me just double check that again, plug that in. It's putting 1.8 volts to the bottom, which it is, well, there's only one now, there was 1.8 before. Oh, where's that? Anyway, 1 volt or 1.8, who cares? It's no longer going through that path, and that short, that 5 ohm short that was on these caps has now gone because I've broken the path to here. The 5 ohm short is now going up. That's interesting. I don't think that chip's to blame unless it goes back round into the chip again. So we now need to see where this 5 ohm short is coming from, going upwards. I think that's where all the heat's being generated, from that 5 ohm short. I don't think that should be there. It's a shame it's not a complete short, it's a 5 ohm short, but we now need to see where maybe we can inject voltage from here going forward. But let's just do a few measurements going up from here. Well, I want to see where this pad goes to. So it's coming up here. There. There. Not there. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, let's measure these. They're okay. So for some reason, this pad is coming up as a 5 ohm short. So all we've done is we've moved the 5 ohm short, haven't we? We've broken it from here. The 5 ohm short was going through here. It was everywhere because it's here. But so something's happening from here upwards that is going on to which is getting a 5 ohm short. The problem is it's ground everywhere. So every single ground thing on the board is going to be showing up. So I don't really think that's an option because there's a 5 ohm short to ground. Let's inject some voltage in here and use the FLIR cam again, and let's see what's getting warm. So I'm just going to get a little bit of a wire. We're going to just tap this onto that top of the inductor pad. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a bench power supply, set it to 1 volt, but high on the amps. Right, so I have got 1.06 of a volt. Let's just check that. There you go, that's fine. And amps wise, 4 amps, 4.2 amps. So that's absolutely huge. 1 volt there. So I need to hit this. Hopefully I can just hit it against this big pad here, be easy for me. Let's see now what's getting warm. Maybe it will shine up another capacitor somewhere. Oh, that's annoying. That's the chip. All right, bear with me. I'm just going to try to hold that there and this with one hand. Let me just get my thing here and see if it's in the middle of the chip. So the middle of the heat spot is bang on here. Where are we? Right, that's the middle of the chip. So 100% it is the chip that's getting warm. So maybe it's going through to the, maybe it's going back in. I don't know. Maybe it's going back in. It's definitely that chip, and the thing is, the chip is showing signs of damage. So let's zoom right the way in. Let's see what the chip is. Let's see if you can buy them. Oh, here we go, that's clear. DA8021, or it could be a 9. I'm going to Google DA9021 and 8021. Bear with me. Dialogue. Right, I've got it here via Mouser, but I can't actually see any of them for sale. It's just got the data sheet. So it is a system power management IC with high efficiency USB power manager. And it is a 9021. It does multiple, I think it said buck, yeah, 3 buck. So that's where you take a higher voltage and bring it down lower. So like, you know, for example, 5 volts down to, in this instance, I think it's 1.8 volts. And it's got 64 bumps. So it's a BGA with 64 balls underneath, 8x8. Applications, smartphone handsets, personal media players. And then it's got all the pads underneath here. So if you have a look here, there you go, this is this one here. So that tells you what all of the different balls are doing underneath. VDD out, VBAT, etc. So this one here has 3 power supplies, I think it said. 5 linear regulators. $3, 5 linear regulators. So let's count up. We have, that's 1 power supply, I think. 2, 3, 4. Do you know what I think I'm going to do? Because this has lots of different things on it. It has a normal camera, it has an infrared a thermal camera, it has a flash. How do I know that this particular power supply, because I've taken it off now, we no longer have a problem with it because it's not heating up anymore. How do I know that this part of the chip has clearly failed, this particular power supply? But if this is one of the linear regulators, I still might have 3 buck power supplies that's actually working the thermal side of it. So why don't I take this wire off, leave this one disconnected, plug in the screen and see if anything comes alive. Or I tell you what I could do, which would be even more interesting. Why don't I put there was 1.8 volts at the bottom of this. Why don't I put 1.8 volts from my power supply in and see if anything comes alive? I think that would be more interesting. So let's plug this back in. There and here. There. And this one is in here, like so. Because what might be interesting is if I did what I did on the Steam boxes, I can't remember the name of them now, Steam Links. What I did is that also had a faulty power supply. I just took 1.8 volts from elsewhere on the circuit, and it worked. So obviously not ideal, but it worked. So let's plug the screen in. Put the wire in the way now. Just going to unsolder that wire a minute. And I'm going to put it on this side. Well, I think I've cleared everything there. Right, that's in there. So now let's get our bench power supply. I'm going to set it to 1.8 volts because that's what I've seen on the bottom. I got a little bit under. 1.78. That's what I've seen on the bottom of the pad. 1.77. I'm going to go right down with the current, just in case I do put some weird, like, short or something on it. I don't want to burn everything out. I'm going to go right down just to like 500 milliamps. There you go, 0.52 off an amp, so 520 milliamps. Right, there we go. That's in there now. And turn on. Oh my God. Oh my word. Go on. This product is subject to US export regulations. It's booting up. It's 1.78 and it's drawing 0.3 off an amp. So it hasn't gone all the way up to 0.5 off an amp. Oh my word. No way, that is the camera, I think. Maybe it's just booting up. That's insane. Oh my word, that's my finger. That is my finger. Whee! No way, is it measuring temperature? Yes, it is. Okay, I'm going to try to take this off. Is it going to go dead? No. Calibrating. Is that because I've just taken it off? I can still see my finger. What? Play images. Oh no way, so these are going to be the images from the last person. So this looks like a computer and a desk and stuff. And that's the actual, that's what it is there. So that's the real picture and this is the heat. That's so good. Lamp. Is the lamp working? What? The lamp's working. So what is this power supply for that's not even on at the moment? Crosshair, that's working. Thermal, here we go. Thermal. Digital camera's working. What on earth? So what's not working on it? I might just leave it disconnected. Let me see if you can buy these chips. Thermal mix, that's going to be a thermal mix. Alignment. And then that's that there. Right, okay, let's see if turning it off is going to work. Should we see if it will work without anything connected to it? Because it maybe this is for turning it on. Maybe I can't turn it on without that. No, I can see it's already lit up. Wow. Right, annoyingly, a quick search suggests that it's not actually for sale, which might not be unbelievable. It might be made just for FLIR themselves. So this is on EEV blog, and it says that the same thing is here. I cannot detect PC and charge, and also this IC is hot, the DA9021. Where can I get this IC? I tried to find for local shop, but nobody have this IC. And it says, that appears to be a difficult IC to find from the usual component sources that I use. So maybe it's not actually for sale anywhere. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to put this back together. I'm going to unsolder that. I'm going to leave that one out of the circuit because now the power can't go through that bit to, you know, to short out that chip. I mean, it might well be fine for my needs, which is perfect. I'd never sell this on, but this is a nice little handy one. Personally, I love this one here, but this one has got more resolution than my one. Well, it's all looking good, but why have they put a power supply in here that isn't doing anything? There's no need for them to put the inductor in and stuff. I appreciate the chip might be made for loads of different applications, and all those linear regulators and buck converters might not be needed in this particular device, but why would they populate the inductor and stuff like that and the capacitors if they're not needed? Well, unfortunately, they are needed. I put it all back together thinking it's fixed, but then when I go to charge it, it's charging at a healthy rate, 0.6 of an amp, 600 milliamps at 5 volts. But the problem is that charge isn't going through to the battery. All that energy is being used to fry the hell out of that chip. The chip is burning hot. So at the beginning of the video, the chip was hot from connecting the battery to it. But by me removing the inductor, I broke that part of the circuit, and the chip is now nice and cool, and the thing comes alive. But when you plug the micro USB in to charge the device, the chip just burns up, and there's no charge getting into the battery at all. The battery is now 3.7 volts, and it's not growing. Well, that's a lie. It's growing a tiny bit, but I'm talking a tiny, tiny bit. Like maybe 1/100th of a volt every few minutes. And then the next few minutes will go by and another 1/100th of a volt will come through. Now, eventually it would charge up, I'm pretty sure of that. But the chip, I think, is just going to burn out, maybe after a few uses, and I don't want that. I was thinking, is there a way I could put a little heat sink on the chip, but I can't because the screen's in the way. I was thinking about maybe a thermal pad, but then it's going onto the ribbon cable off the screen, so there's nothing really for it to drain the heat away. The shield doesn't go near there. So what I'm thinking of now, which I'll show you in the next part of the video, is I'm going to try it with the battery disconnected and just a micro USB connected, just to see, is the chip still getting hot? Is the chip only hot when the battery's connected and the micro USB? Because I could use this as a wired device. I don't have to have it cordless. I'm not taking it out on site. I'd be quite happy to use it plugged into a power bank. Wouldn't bother me at all. If that doesn't work, I'm thinking about bypassing that part of the circuit completely and using my own little charging board, because I've got these little charging boards called TP4056, I think it is, and they charge lithium batteries, and they're very, very cheap. So I don't have to worry about this chip charging the battery. I can just put another board in. It's not going to fit inside, but I can stick it outside and I can charge the battery via outside. So let's cut to the video now where I've discovered that the battery isn't charging. The chip is still getting ridiculously hot. Let's see what happens if I disconnect the battery and plug the micro USB in. Will it work without the battery at all? There we go. Now, is it going to turn on without that connected? What happens? Let's see. Are we going to draw anything at all? So we're still drawing a lot there. I think that's still going to get red hot. Let's see if it turns on. No, so we need that battery. Okay. Right.
So we need that battery there. Let me have a look at my little board. I think I've only got the one, but I can buy more. Now, there are these little boards here. Let me see what they're called again. So TP4056. Let me just see if you can still buy them. Yeah, you can. They're everywhere. You can get them from AliExpress. You can get them for eBay, £2.86. I might even get myself a USB-C one. That'd be quite nice. Well, I'll tell you what. This is just a micro USB. Let's use this one here. So I've only ever used this for kind of charging up switch batteries and stuff. So you put it on here and that's going to charge up the battery. But look, these are the output ones. So I presume when you unplug this here, if I was to connect these two up to the actual board, so I connect the battery to these two, put these two to the board, then I don't think it will matter about the middle pin. I think it would just work then, because you can see on the negative they're separated. It looks like the positive are joined though. Unless that's my sloppy soldering. I think we're going to do that, and then what I can do is I can stick this just on the back here, and then every time it needs charging, I'll just plug it in here, and then under normal operation, I don't think that chip will be getting scorching hot. Let's see if it works. So I spent about the next 15-20 minutes wiring up this little TP4056 board. This one isn't even micro USB, I got it wrong, it's mini USB. So I've made this FLIR cam even more outdated than it already is with the micro USB because I'm putting a mini USB in. I have, however, bought 20 more of these from Amazon. Guess what? £6. It works out 30p each. I didn't do next day delivery because they were £7.99, nearly £8. But £6, they're getting delivered in a couple of days' time. It's amazing, I went for the USB-C ones, that they can make a board with a USB-C on it and various chips for 30p each and get them shipped, I presume, from China. And somebody in the UK has to post them out, or maybe Amazon's posting them out, and that person's making profit as well. It's unbelievable that this can be made. The factory in China making them must be making profit. The Chinese seller must be making profit. The UK seller's making profit. And the person on the courier shipping it out is making profit on 20 of them for £6. It's mind-blowing how cheap. I'd be happy to pay £6 for one of them, not alone 20. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, I wired it all in. I need 4 wires, 2 to take it out from the battery and 2 to bring it back in again to go onto the actual contacts on the board where the battery was connected. I'm not sure what to do with the yellow wire in the middle of the battery because there's nothing on this TP board for me to connect that temperature wire to, that kind of sense wire. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it back onto the board where it was originally, onto the middle connector, because maybe the chip that's burning out needs to read that wire to make sure that the FLIR cam's okay to charge or turn on. Well, now obviously I'm not charging it via the FLIR now, I'm charging it via this board, but maybe it won't turn on without that wire. Not too sure, and maybe that's why it didn't turn on earlier when the battery was disconnected and the USB was in. Maybe if you were to connect the middle wire, it would turn on. Not actually sure, but anyway, it doesn't make a difference. I'm just going to be plugging it into the middle. If I've got that wrong, let me know. Maybe it would work fine if that yellow wire was disconnected completely. So I do this over the next 15 or 20 minutes. It's easy enough to do. I have to poke a hole through the rear case. I don't know if it was ever waterproof, but it's definitely got a rubberized coating on. If I could fit this board inside, it would have been lovely, but there's just no room to fit it inside. So that's why I'm sticking on the back. It doesn't bother me, it's just going to sit on my desk. I'm not bringing it out on site somewhere, worried about the rain. It's just going to be sit on my desk. I don't care if I'm holding it and I have a little battery management board on my fingers at the back. It makes no difference to me whatsoever. And I'm hoping that this will be a lasting repair, because now the bit that's blown up in the chip, it doesn't matter because I'm charging it from a separate board. And under normal operation, the chip doesn't seem to get warm. It's only when you plug in the charger that it gets warm. Originally it got warm just by plugging in the battery, but that's because the inductor was connecting up the part of the circuit which was faulty. Now I've removed the inductor, the chip's not getting hot anymore, and now that I've got my own charging board, we've kind of bypassed the faulty part of the chip.
from what I can see anyway. Anyway, while I'm doing this, I'll give a shout out to the My Mate Vince Massive. The members this month are Keymon Services, Kip Hakes on YouTube, Max Rokotansky, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, DJ VG, Pigsy, Anthony Dean, Russ Melanson, Rickard Bergman, Shamsa Al Sawadi, Stuart Park, Stephen from the Broken Past on YouTube, Lee Benz, and AJ Computer Services UK. So that is it. We have the little board now, double-sided taped onto the back. I did use hot glue gun on it, but it didn't stick to the rubberized coating very well. So I used a bit of double-sided sticky tape on it. And now what I'm doing is I'm just letting it charge up fully, because I want to make sure that this board will charge the battery, and I want to make sure it goes down to 0 amps. Then I know it's fully charged. Right, it's dropping. It's at 0.9 off an amp now, and get my finger in it to see the real heat. There is no heat. So the heat's just coming from the TP board at the back there, not from this chip anymore. There's no heat on that chip at all. Getting there now, we're at 360 milliamps, or now it's gone to 3.5, so 0.35 amps. Nearly there, 130, 140 milliamps, and still no heat. You can see my fingers are the hottest thing on the board. Right, good news. It went, well, there you go. It did it again now. And then what will happen is this will turn itself off. It will turn itself back on, and then it will go to a red light and start charging again for another minute. But you can see there's 0. Now it's gone off. It will come back on again. So it is fully charged as far as this is concerned, which is good. Now, let's see what voltage we have in it. Should be about 4.2. 4.1, there you go, just under 4.2. Fantastic. So my questions are, to begin with, is this safe? I think it is, because this is a little lithium charging board, and we're charging a little lithium battery on the inside. Now, also, the other question is the yellow wire. Did I need to connect the yellow wire from the battery to here, or is it irrelevant now because I'm using a separate charging board? Not too sure. I am going to put this fully back together, hopefully for the last time. Right, let's see if it still turns on. So I need to remember never to plug anything into there now. I think you can also use the USB lead to download photos to your computer. Again, I'm not sure if that is or isn't going to work, but it's not something I'm ever going to do. There we go. Right, I'm going to just test it around the house now, and then I'll finish up the video. Maybe I'll find something interesting that I can show you this working on, rather than just a circuit board. Right, if you look at this now, if you look over here, you can see that the kettle is much warmer than anything else. And the resolution there is pretty good. So that's great. And if I go over to the freezer, watch this. See the colour difference there? Look at that. So I thoroughly enjoyed that fix there. Was it a fix? Yes, because it's working now. Is it a proper fix? No, it needs a new chip. But by removing that inductor, I broke that part of the circuit, so the short can't overwork that chip. It looks like the chip is doing what it needs to do as far as providing the 1.8 volts to the other buck regulators, you know, the other inductors that were down there. It's just, I think the charging part of it's gone faulty, and I don't think, I know. Maybe what's happened is maybe somebody was using a micro USB, but maybe they plugged it into a fast charger, you know, one of the ones that would output 7 volts or 9 volts, and maybe it didn't communicate properly and blew that part of the circuit. So by taking out the inductor, the short can no longer draw all that energy, which was stopping the rest from working. And then to charge up the battery, we've just used this. And I think that's going to work, but I don't actually know. I think it's perfectly safe. But if you want to know for sure, check out the comment section, because I will be corrected down there if I am incorrect. So yeah, Obviously it needs a new chip. If you get a new chip, I think this will be working perfectly because it appears to be working just fine now. If those chips are not available, which I don't think they are, then this is a nice little workaround because these products, they're expensive. They're really expensive, FLIR cams, so they're well worth fixing. And I think most electrical guys anyway would be more than happy with that there. Clearly, if you were using this out in the rain, in the field somewhere, then that's not going to be good enough for you. But if you're just over a blue mat, I think rather than buying a new one, these things here are pounds. It's not going to take that much work to take off that inductor and get it working again. And maybe that chip is a weak spot in loads of different models, not just the C2. Because I think on that EEE blog, I think that was a C4 on that one there. So maybe it's quite a common problem. And this is a little workaround to get it working again. But I don't know if it's safe. Read the comment section and hopefully people that are a lot more knowledgeable than me will put down whether it is or isn't down in the comment section. So a massive thanks to Dave for sending this into the channel. I think that was actually a very generous item to send in. I thoroughly enjoyed that video and I hope you did too. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Vitamins and history books, psychology and a different way to look at it all. 'Cause my perspective is broken. If suffering's a way to earn your keep, I better start putting miles on my feet. But I'm so tired of wandering. Yeah.